Now here's another example of a system of two equations, two variables. Equation 1 involving variables x and y, and equation 2 also involving variables x and y. But this time, the system is going to solve slightly differently. The last step of the method of substitution I mentioned in previous videos is going to be altered slightly to make your lives easier. So I'm going to choose an equation, I'm going to choose a variable. So I'm going to choose equation 1 and I'm going to choose the variable x. So that's step 1. Very easy. Choose an equation, choose a variable. Step 2, make the chosen variable the subject of the formula in the chosen equation. So chosen equation, equation 1 is 2x plus 6y equals 16. I'm going to make x the subject of the formula by isolating x on the left hand side. So I'm going to get rid of this plus 6y by subtracting 6y from both sides. So it's a good thing to write this actually. Subtract 6y from both sides. Doing so gives 2x plus 6y minus 6y equals 16 minus 6y. This gives 2x is equal to 16 minus 6y. Finally, I'm going to divide through by 2 to isolate x. And that gives me x equals 8 minus 3y. And that's the end of step 2. Step 3 says substitute the result obtained in step 2 into the rejected equation. So we chose equation 1. Rejected equation is equation 2. So I'm going to replace x with 8 minus 3y in equation 2. Equation 2 is this: 2x minus y equals 2. As you can see, the result, this is going to be substituted into this equation. So replace x with, this is equation 2 by the way, x with 8 minus 3y in 2. Doing so gives, which is now step 4 says, so that's the end of step 3. And I'm going to call this equation equation 3. Equation 3. Now what does step 4 say? Step 4 says make the rejected variable the subject of the formula in the equation obtained in the last step. So the rejected variable is y. The equation obtained in the last step is equation 3. So we're going to make y the subject of equation 3. So just starting from equation 3, get rid of 16 gives, by subtracting 16 from both sides gives, well, let's do it the long way. So I'm going to write, actually, subtract 16 from both sides in equation 3. This gives this, which you can simplify. Well, if you rearrange, if you swap the position of minus 7y and minus 16, you get this cancels out 0. So you have minus 7y equals 2 minus 16 minus 14. You can divide through by minus 7, which gives y equals 2. So now we have a value for one variable, y is equal to 2. So the next step is what's going to change now. Now, you just need to realize your objective. You want to find a value for x and a value for y that satisfies these two equations. We have a value for y according to the procedure we just performed. We have y equals 2. Now we just need to find what x is. And the way to do this is to use any of the equations we have that involve both x and y. Equation 1 involves x and y. Equation 2 involves x and y. So does this equation. So does this equation. So any equation we have which involves x and y can be used. Basically, you can replace this result, or you can substitute this result into any equation involving both x and y, because what will happen is you replace y with 2 and you just be left with x, and you just make x the subject of the formula in whichever equation you chose, and blam, you have x. So let's pick, normally we will substitute that result into the rejected equation, which we could do, but we can also substitute it into this equation 1, or even into this equation here, which involves both x and y. And as you can see here, in this equation, we already have x as a subject. So taking this equation, which was never labeled before, but I'm going to label as equation 4. I'm going to call this equation 4. So x is equal to 8 minus 3y. 8 minus 3y. So we're replacing y. So this is equation 4. Replacing y with 2 in equation 4 gives x equals 8 minus 3 times y, but y is now 2, which is x equals 8 minus 6, which is x equals 2. So our result is that x is equal to 2 and y is also equal to 2, and that's the result. Try substituting these values into the original equations and you find that both of the equations are satisfied. So the key point here is, at the end of step 4, you have a result for one variable, and all you're left to do is to find the value of the other variable, and this can be achieved by substituting this result into any equation that involves both variables, like 1, 2, and even this equation here. It was very easy to use this equation because x was already the subject, and all we had to do was replace y with 2 and we got a result. We didn't even have to make x subject of the formula anymore. So this simplifies the problem. So I'll do another example if you want one. If you want another example on this, please request one. Thank you.